Hello everyone, I'm Lynn Prowse-Bishop and welcome to the Virtual Business Show, What You Need to Know. The show covers topics of interest to virtual assistants as well as those in small business and people who may want to work as a VA or hire the services of one. On today's episode, we're going to be discussing continuing education. I believe that continuing education and professional development is absolutely essential, particularly for small and home-based businesses like virtual assistants, but really for any business owner. When you work for someone else, you have access to the training that's put on by your employer. But when you work for yourself, you are responsible for your ongoing training. There's a tendency for VAs, I think, to let this aspect slide, particularly once they start working for a handful of income-generating clients. They're so focused on getting that income in that they forget that they are responsible for continuing their own professional development. They'll often use these clients as an excuse and say that they just simply don't have the time to look at training. I think this probably is the case for a lot of people in business. They get so bogged down in the actual running of their business that they forget that it's so important for them to continue their training. You really have to make the time, particularly if you want to stay ahead of the game and keep your skills current and be the best partner for your client that you can be. One of the advantages for clients of working with a VA is to have a professional who's up to date with latest technologies and ways of working. Now, these days, this changes so rapidly that many clients lack either the time or motivation to keep abreast of it. So if the VA does so, they position themselves to be the best support for their clients and potential clients, and it also means that they're not competing with other VAs based solely on price. Now, recently, I was lucky enough to have the opportunity to interview a number of entrepreneurs and small business owners about their thoughts on continuing education. I spoke with Rob Anderson of Kagora, Tony Constantino, the WordPress guy, Kathy Kolayarkovo of Time on Task VA Services, Michelle Shane, the VA Demo Girl, Tom Buford of Charge What You're Worth, and Annie Jennings and Stacey Amaral Kaufman of Annie Jennings PR. Let's listen to what they have to say on continuing education.
Thanks, Lynn. Yeah, look, I'm a huge fan of lifelong learning and also the power of web events that make it happen, which is, I guess, part of the reason we sort of got into the space of creating a platform like this. And I think that, ongoing education is really important for everyone, regardless of your career, not just to help you maximise your earning potential, but also from a standpoint of self-development and, general happiness. But I think for VAs or for our industries where technology and communications and admin services are changing so rapidly, it's absolutely imperative that VAs are tapped into continuing education, because as a VA, if you're to maintain your edge, you need the skills and knowledge so you're not competing for clients on price.
I think that we're in an environment on the internet where technology is moving at such a rapid rate that if you don't continue to grow and educate yourself, your business will age and fall behind very quickly. I think 1 year on the internet is more like 3 years in the outside world by the rate of growth that it has.
I guess my main reason that I look at why it's so important for us to continue to learn and train and get new ideas into our heads is because most of us tend to work at home, work alone, and it is so easy to get into the groove of streaming along and happily sailing and doing work for your clients and continuing to do work. And if you don't actually take the time to get out in the world, and it's probably a virtual world, and get some more training or get connected to other people through classes and workshops that you can do online, you might find yourself getting into a rut with clients where you don't get any new ideas for them. I think a big part of being a VA is how we partner with our clients as opposed to just working for them as you would as an employee in an office. And I think a lot of benefits that many clients find from working with their virtual assistant is that their VA will come up with new ideas for them and ideas for them to save time or ideas for, how to expand somewhere else and go into a new line of business or try something new out. And I think all the online education and training and workshops and seminars that people can do, especially when you do work in a home office or by yourself, can really help enhance the services that you pass on to your own clients. So it may seem like a bit of work sometimes, and it may take time out of your day, but I think in the end, most of us virtual assistants would really benefit from getting out there and getting the education, the training, but also getting the connections. That's one big thing with me is the people that I meet online at seminars and workshops. Sometimes I continue on those friendships virtually as they may be, and they tend to be really helpful and ones that in some cases I really treasure and would never want to let go.
I've been doing it in this business for quite a while, and I still take probably 4 classes a year or more. And I think it's especially important for a virtual assistant to stay really up to date with the latest technologies, because those of us who are doing internet marketing or video or audio technologies like myself, those are constantly changing. And your client's really looking to you because they don't know what they don't know, and they need you to be the one who is on, the real cutting edge of whatever's going on in your specialization. And also you're really cut off at home. You can use these classes as a sounding board with other virtual assistants, because most of the classes that VAs tend to be filled with VAs and not people from all different areas of internet marketing. And it's a great way to meet other students, socialize, and continue with other VAs to get a group of like-minded people available to answer questions and get some feedback on the different projects that you do.
It's important for anybody in any business to be continuing to educate yourself, but when you're talking about micro business owners or solo entrepreneurs like coaches or virtual assistants, you've got so many tasks that you are trying to do, and you're trying to wear so many hats at one time, which of course is one reason that people should be hiring VAs, people to help them out with other areas of their business that they shouldn't be doing themselves. But the fact of the matter is we do take on a lot of different tasks ourselves. So if we're trying to wing it and figure things out on our own, the learning curve is just going to take much longer. That's time that could be dedicated to, getting new clients, to doing our revenue generating activities. So anytime you're spending money and educating yourself on programs or even getting information for free that can help you with your business, it's just a huge asset to have, and it's a great habit to have. And, I think it's not a coincidence that when you talk to most of the, the most highly successful entrepreneurs and business owners, they're always educating themselves. They're never, they never stop or cease with their education process. So I think that's very important.
Hi, this is Annie speaking. And I think one of the most important reasons that VAs should continue their education and training is to stay competitive and to keep that competitive advantage. That will land them the most cutting-edge clients, the big clients, the lucrative clients, and the major opportunities. And you want to keep your education right up to speed. The industries are moving so quickly now, and so much is being known so fast. And internet marketing strategy is emerging and advancing every single day. Web strategy, conversion strategy, all the jobs that are very important for virtual assistants to know, blog strategy, it's huge now. Everything is about internet marketing and the various components, and there's a lot out there to learn. It's important to be a thought leader in your field. This is how you land the most lucrative opportunities for yourself. Stacey, I'd like to ask you what it is that you believe continuing education and training is so important for anyone running a small business or a home-based business these days.
Well, I think having continuing education is so critical. If you think about it this way, say you're hiring somebody, and okay, we're talking about virtual assistant businesses. You're getting ready to hire a virtual assistant, and you're looking at resumes, you're looking at credentials, and one person has a couple of certifications in several different areas, but the next person is up to speed, has their finger on the pulse of the industry, what's happening right now, the latest studies, research, surveys, they know what's happening, and the list of certifications that they have is a mile long. You're going to hire the person who is more prepared, who is more educated, who understands what the industry is looking for at this very second and can even anticipate the next wave of advancements in this industry because they are so neck deep and what's happening now. And so they offer a huge benefit to the person who's looking to hire them.
Some great thoughts there from some very successful entrepreneurs. Now, there are loads and loads of training opportunities out there for small business owners, both on and offline. If you did a Google search for your area, you'd come up with lots of hits. So let's look at a few online resources. The Australian Virtual Business Network has been holding online training sessions for VAs and small business owners since 2008 and was the first organisation in Australia to hold webinars for that target audience. Recordings of past webinars are permanently hosted on the site, and the upcoming schedule is also posted there. Currently, participation in these webinars is just $10, so very affordable online learning opportunities. You'll find this at avbn.com.au. The Online International VA Convention has been running since 2006 and is held in the third week of May each year to coincide with International VA Day. This convention has over 30 online training opportunities for VAs and business owners to hear from international speakers on a range of topics. The largest online convention of its kind, it provides very affordable online learning opportunities, and there are also free networking opportunities and other free events scattered throughout the 3 days of the convention. It is also the only convention to date to have a virtual exhibition hall where sponsors and other exhibitors can showcase their services and products in a totally virtual environment. You can check this out at oivac.com. There are a range of online webinars and teleseminars offered by the various international virtual assistant networks and organisations, as well as webinars and teleconferences for small businesses offered by state government departments like the Department of State Development, for example. A local search in your area will no doubt turn up many others. Online learning opportunities are great because you don't have to worry about costs like travel, accommodation, food and beverage, and the time lost being away from your office. All you need in most cases is an internet-connected computer and a headset mic in order to participate. Teleseminars require just a phone. Offline training opportunities are also all around you. TAFEs, community colleges and other learning institutions offer courses in new software or courses to update your current skills. Local chambers of commerce, women's networking groups, local tweet-ups for people who've met via Twitter offer not just opportunities for business networking, but will often have guest speakers on topics of interest to small business or will hold training sessions or workshops in various skills. There are now also lots of VA training opportunities springing up with different VA training organisations emerging, as well as coaches who offer one-on-one training. Of course, there are also on-site conventions. The Australian VA Conference had its inaugural convention in March 2010, and you can find more information about that at australianvaconference.com. And of course, there are the international conventions in the UK and the US. So do a Google search for those, check out some VA organisations. There are lots of opportunities for you to update your skills and continue your education. Your ongoing training and professional development is so important for you, your business and your clients. You really do yourself a great disservice when you let this slide because you believe you're too busy. Most of the online opportunities are 45 minutes to an hour maximum, time easily slotted into your calendar and highlighted as you being unavailable or not to be disturbed. It's so important for you to realise continuing education is a must, and as a self-employed person, it's something you really cannot afford to let go. I'm Lynn Prowse-Bishop, and this has been the Virtual Business Show. If you have any comments to make on today's episode, please feel free to do so using the comments box here, or go to execstress.com and use our form there. Until next time, thanks so much for listening.